Hey guys! As a photographer, I know how hard it is to get some of your questions answered. I'm a self taught photographer, so I had to learn everything all by myself. And it was really because of other photographers in the community that I could ask questions and get them answered that kind of helped me develop myself, my craft, and my business over the years. So I decided to try something new. I decided to ask my community on Facebook, on Instagram, to send me in questions, things that they struggle with, things that they have problems with, or things they just want answered. And I will pick, out of all those questions I got, I will pick like 4 of them every week and then just answer them on video and see how it goes. So today, on episode number 1, we have question number 1. How do you get razor sharp images shooting on f1.2, 1.4, or 1.8? Well, let me tell you, shooting on f1.4 and 1.8 has been one of the hardest things to do, at least for me, because I have like a little bit ADHD, so I'm a little bit shaky. And holding a camera steady at f1.4 and still getting really tack sharp images is a really hard thing to do. Of course, it depends on the subject to distance ratio. So depending on how far the subject is away from you, it's a little bit easier and a little bit harder. If you have your subject really close, let's say a meter or 4 foot in front of you, it's really hard to shoot f1.2 or 1.4 and get the eyes really sharp. There are a few things you could do, a few things that have helped other photographers. I've heard back focusing. So using the back focus button, instead of focusing with your trigger finger, you focus with the back button on the back of your camera. You hold it steady, and when it's locked, you pull the trigger. That kind of helped a few people. It doesn't help me. I don't know why. I couldn't get used to using the back focus button for some reason. Other things that I've tried, at least that work for me, is slowly moving forward and backwards while shooting. So I have my model in front of me. I will focus the camera on my model's eye, take a shot, lean a little bit forward, take another shot, and lean a little bit back and take another shot. This way, I'll have my focus locked on the eyes, and with the slow movement, I usually get that tack image within those 3 or 4 shots. Other things like that is maybe using a tripod, getting your camera steady, getting your camera locked, having the model stand really, really still, because models also are used to moving a little bit. So one thing you could do is count. You go like 1, 2, 3, so the model knows that's when we freeze, hold it there, focus, shoot it, and then have it locked. These are some things that might help get you focus locking on f1.2 and 1.4 and get your images tack sharp. Usually what I do, I just go to f2, f2.8. I still love the depth of field that f2 or 2.8 gives me. It has a little bit more sharpness to it. I'm not a really low f-stop shooter in my models per se, but I hope these tips might help you get like a little cleaner, a little better shot. The next question I got was how to get more models reacting to your casting calls. Lately, there's been this trend online that when you post a casting call in one of those big groups, not a lot of models react anymore to the mood boards. This is also because of the market is a little bit oversaturated with photographers and good photographers as well. So they can pick and choose which photographer they want to work with, which makes them a little bit more pickier. What I've done in the past, or still do at least, is I try to make my portfolio very interesting, so that when a model comes to my portfolio and sees my work, there's something to show, there's something interesting to see. This is probably the hardest thing to do to get more people reacting to your casting calls. I've had in the past that people won't react to my casting calls, and it's like, what was wrong? Why didn't I have those? Why didn't get those reactions that anybody else got? And it pretty much came down to the images I had on my website weren't really showing the best of my work. So I had people look at my portfolio, I changed some images up, and lo and behold, when I started casting, a lot more people reacted to my casting calls. Other things I try to do at least is I look at my friends, I look at other photographers and see who they're shooting with. And kind of like a job when you ask for a reference from where you worked so that they tell you, oh, he was good or he was bad. I go to the photographer that shot a certain model and ask, like, how was that model? And if she was good, would you mind introducing me to her so that the model knows who I am? And that when I drop her an email or a message from, hey, would you like to shoot or would you like to do something? They already have like a little introduction from somebody else who they trust, who they've already shot with, to like introduce me into them. And that way it makes it a little bit more easier to contact models. The casting calls itself, only thing you can do is make them more interesting as possible. I'm not always discouraged when I don't get a lot of comments. Every now and then, I would see a casting call that gets like 50 comments, and I would go to my casting call and I will only have 3. But within those 3, I would have like the perfect girl for the shoot I'm wanting to do. So it doesn't really matter how many comments you get, as long as the comments that you get have like the person you can work with or the person you want to work with. And this is pretty much how I feel about the casting calls and getting things a little bit more traction. I hope it helps. The third question, this one is an interesting one, and I think one a lot of people are struggling with. It's how to get more engagement on Facebook. It's really hard because Facebook has been making it harder for people to get engagement. Even though people liked your page, they still won't see your posts. And I can do like a whole 30-minute talk about how to get a little bit more engagement on Facebook. But what it comes down to is that Facebook likes when you post videos more than when you post pictures. It likes pictures more than you post text. So if you're posting text only, they will not show it as much as that when you post a picture. And then when you post a picture, they won't show it as much as when you post a video. So video right now is very booming on the Facebooks, and that's what they really like about what they're doing. So if you post more videos, you will get more reach, you will get more engagement from your audience, and Facebook will push your post up more to more people. Other than that, I found on your Facebook page at least, paying for ads helps, but it's really, you gotta really pick and choose what you pay for. I wouldn't pay for every thing I post on my Facebook page. I would pick and choose maybe one of my best works once a month, push it up so that people will see it more, people will engage to it, and then maybe the next 2, 4 to 5 posts after that post will also have a higher engagement because people have come to the page and they're looking and they're actively engaging with your posts. Besides this, there's one thing I would love for everybody to know, and everybody needs to actually do this, is get off of Facebook. Get the likes that you have and get them into a mailing list. The easiest way I found to get them into a mailing list is a website called MailChimp. That's MailChimp. And they will make a little form. You can design a little form in there. You can make bullet points, have like a name, an email address. What are you? Are you a photographer? Are you a model? Did you sign this form because you want to work together, or you just want to see my inspiration? And this gives you like a little Excel sheet online, which you can create to send emails to these people. Getting them in there, I've noticed there's a little bit more interaction and way more reach, because you can, like a newspaper, you can pretty much design a new newspaper for all those people that are following you. And every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you just send them an email, a newsletter with all your latest images, with your latest work, maybe your latest blog post, maybe something you've done or somewhere you're traveling. And I've noticed the engagements and reactions to those emails are a little bit higher than I get on Facebook. So it might be worth your time to invest in how getting those people off of your Facebook and getting them into mailing lists by asking them if they like your page, would they want to sign up and get more feedback or get more feeds or get more insights from you, versus seeing it on Facebook randomly when maybe it won't pop up or it won't even show up. So that's my tip about engagements on Facebook. Besides, the usual posting every day, asking questions, posting video, posting pictures, it might be worth your while to check out mailing lists and getting those people off of Facebook and into mailing lists so that you can email them every week a new update. So for the last question, that's very fast. We got a last question, and that is, how do you get publications? The question didn't specify if it was about publications on photography magazines or if it was a publication on more of a fashion portrait magazine. So I'll do a little bit of both. And in the Netherlands, for photography magazines, it's not really that hard, because most photography magazines are built by the community. At least most creative magazines I know, also international, are built by the community. So they have like a showcase, a spotlight, some website or some form you can fill in and send in your work, so they can review it and publish it in those magazines. All you got to do is go to those websites and see them. In the Netherlands, we have a magazine called Zoom, Digiphoto Pro. Both of them have like an active community online. If you create a Zoom account and you upload a picture over there, you can guarantee an editor or somebody working there will see that image and decide whether they can do something with it in the magazine or in an article or something else. If just publishing your work and waiting doesn't help, there's always sending them an email. In every magazine, in the front side, I don't have a magazine over here, but on the front or in the back of the cover, there's always like a little crew list. There's like who made the magazine, the art director, the publisher, all those people, their names are in that magazine, usually with email addresses as well. You can send them an email directly. The thing is, what you got to do is you can't send them an email with your images and go like, would you publish these images? That won't work. What I've noticed works is you need to create a story. There needs to be a story around those images. So for me, when I shot like little zombies outside, my friends, I make them up as zombies. I sent an email to the magazine and I said like, hey, my name is Richard and I went outside and I've used like strobist and I make up my friends to shoot like a little zombie adventure. I have all these settings for all the things I've shot. Here's a little schedule. Here are the images. So I made like a little, kind of like a blog post, but not really. I kind of make an email, kind of like a blog post, explaining the shoot, explaining why it's interesting, why it could help their community, why it could help the magazine. And that way it was easier to get published into magazines. So they already get the full story. All they got to do is like, mix and match it and write it a little bit better. And they have a story. That way you kind of already help them along to publish the article. So that on how to get into those photography magazines is think about what do you want to say? What do you want the article to say to the people? How do you want to help the people reading the magazine? And put this all into an email and send it to the director, to the art director, to anybody in the magazine that can get that published. And again, all their names are right in the magazine in the front and back cover. For the fashion magazines, it's a little bit different. It depends again on what magazine. Not everybody just accepts pictures and publishes them. But for those that do accept pictures and publishes them, I found the easiest way or the more fun way of doing it is finding stylists or finding art directors or finding clothing designers, people that already work with magazines or already get published with magazines. I found that doing a shoot with them, they usually just have their contact at the magazine. They go like, okay, cool, I love these shoots. We did this with my clothing. I'll send it to my magazine and they'll publish it over there. Not their magazine, but they'll send it to a magazine they have a contact with and get it published over there. So for those type of magazines, fashion-y type things, I found it was the easiest way to get friends or stylists and clothing designers and people who already have a connection with a magazine to get it published. Another way is to look online, just look for open submission magazines. You can always find them. They have like a little submission form and how to submit and what's the story they need to write. I always do shoot the photo shoot first before I go to a magazine. If it's really like a popular big magazine, like, I don't know, Vogue, I know they don't take submissions, but for the matter of speeding, let's say we take a big magazine like Vogue. What's usually the better case to do is to pitch a story. So again, just like the first time, you gotta find an interesting story. You gotta make it fit with the magazine and what they're trying to say. You gotta make it fit with the season. And that way you can tailor the story to what they're kind of looking for and send it to them and see if they like it and see if they want it to help or fund or do anything to get you published in that magazine. So a lot of magazines they're open to questions and they will answer those questions. A lot of them are not, so depending on the size of them. And that's pretty much what I know and how to get on magazines, at least how I got into magazines. Well, these were the 4 questions. If there's anything else, if you have any questions, any new things, you can drop them on my Facebook, you can drop them on YouTube. Just let me know the question and I'll try to answer it next week. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.